Hello, my name is Tom Rummage, Senior Applications Engineer here at Micro Measurements. And today I'm going to be bonding an advanced sensor strain gauge with the new advanced sensor technology resistance adjustment techniques. I'm going to be using our AE-10 adhesive system, which recently we have rated again to a higher temperature. For the last 10 or 15 years, our customers have been asking us, why is it we don't rate our AE-10 or our AE-15 to higher temperatures? We use it all the time and it seems to be fine. Well, about 6 months ago, we began an exhaustive study into that particular aspect of AE-10. And we've discovered that it can go upwards of 400 degrees Fahrenheit with relatively good performance. The one exception is creep. We lose a little bit of creep performance at the top end. So if you're building a high precision transducer and you're going to go to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, this might not be the best adhesive for you. But for general purpose stress analysis work, it works perfectly all the way up to 400 degrees Fahrenheit. And the magic thing about that is the AE-10 cures at room temperature. AE-15 can cure at 125 degrees Fahrenheit. So now we're going to demonstrate bonding with AE-10 and an advanced sensor, the 125 UWA sensor. Okay, now we'll begin the bonding portion of this particular exercise. The first step will be to take our CSM3 degreaser and a clean dry gauze sponge, and I'm going to degrease the beam. Saturate the gauze sponge, and I'm going to degrease the entire length of the beam because I don't want to transfer any of the oils that would be adjacent to it. So now I've degreased it. The next step will be to take our 320 grit, the SCP-2 silicon carbide abrasive paper, and I'm going to dry abrade the surface of the part. Now my strain gauge is going to be located right here at this alignment place here, so I'm going to abrade the area there and about an inch on either side of it. So 320 grit silicon carbide abrasive paper, SCP-3, or excuse me, SCP-2, and 10 or 12 strokes of dry abrade. We're not trying to make clarinet reeds. The next step, we'll again use the 320 grit silicon carbide abrasive paper, the SCP-2, and the conditioner A, the mild phosphoric acid solution. I'm going to again fold a piece of the silicon carbide abrasive paper into half, flood the surface with the conditioner A, and then wet abrade, 10 or 12 strokes. Having completed that operation, I'll take a clean, dry gauze sponge and with a single wiping motion absorb the contaminated material off of my beam. It's important to use a single wiping motion. If you wipe back and forth, you'll recontaminate the area. Okay, we've now wet abrade with the 320. We're going to now move to the SCP-3, the silicon carbide abrasive paper, the 400 grit. And we're going to wet abrade again with the conditioner A, and this will get us to the proper surface finish for bonding with the AE-10 and this CEA-Series of strain gauge. Again, conditioner A, the mild phosphoric acid solution, red tip bottle. And I'm going to wet abrade with the 400 grit. Ten or 12 strokes. And another clean, dry gauze sponge, I'm going to absorb that material off the beam. It's the contaminated material, the conditioner A. The next step will be to burnish an alignment mark. Now I'm going to be using the elbow of a dental probe. You can use a 4H drafting pencil on this aluminum beam. Anything you'd like to use that will be able to leave a mark without making any sort of a scratch or a scribe mark. You want it to be a burnished alignment mark. So now I'm going to locate my straight edge here. And I'm going to lightly burnish an alignment mark. Might be difficult for you to see in the video, but I can see that line quite nicely and it'll allow me to properly align the strain gauge. I'm now going to take the conditioner A and a cotton tip applicator, or CSP1, and I'm going to scrub with the conditioner A anything I contaminated that beam with the burnishing the alignment mark. I want to get rid of that, so flood the surface with the conditioner A and putting my finger behind the cotton tip applicator's bud, I'm going to scrub with the conditioner A, the mild phosphoric acid solution. Having completed that scrub, I'm going to take a clean dry gauze sponge and absorb the excess material. At this point, you should very easily see your alignment mark. If you cannot, then you go back and redo that alignment until you can see it, and then scrub with the conditioner A again. The next step will be to scrub with the neutralizer 5A, the blue tip bottle. I'll take again another cotton tip applicator. I'm going to flood the surface with the neutralizer 5A, and then I'm going to scrub. The neutralizer 5A stops the acid action or the etching action of the conditioner A, and also brings the pH to the appropriate neutral or slightly basic for proper bonding. And the last step of surface preparation will be to, with a clean dry gauze sponge, absorb the excess materials off of the beam. Now my beam is clean, and I'm going to put it out of harm's way. And now I'm going to have to mix the adhesive system. I tell you what, before I do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and lay out the strain gauge, and then we'll mix the adhesive system. So I've got my glass plate here, which needs to be chemically clean so I don't contaminate the bonding surface of the gauge. So I'm going to take a few drops of the neutralizer 5A, the blue tip bottle, and a gauze sponge, and I'm going to clean the surface of my glass plate. Now, why do we use a glass plate? It's real easy to clean, and it's real easy to tell if it's dirty. So the next thing I'm going to need to do is locate my gauge. Again, the 125 UW, or UWA, excuse me, for advanced sensors. I'm going to use my blunt nose tweezers, and just to be extra fastidious, as you should be when you're working with strain gauges, I'm going to take some neutralizer 5A, and I'm going to clean the blunt nose of these tweezers. I'll now splay open the folder here and grab the gauge, bringing that out. I'm going to lay that out of the harm's way. I'm now going to lay the strain gauge out on my glass plate the way it's going to end up on my beam, and I want to grab it by the corner, the tab corner of the gauge. Never grab the gauge by the grid. And then I'm going to face it so that the tabs are facing the direction that I'm going to put it on this beam. I'm going to locate our PCT 3M tape, and it's in its dispenser. I'm going to pull off about 2 or 3 inches and throw that away. It might have been contaminated. And I'm going to pull off 2 or 3 inches or so, cut the tape. To make it easy to remove later, I'm going to put a couple of little handles on the end of the tape, just folding the ends over. Now I'm going to place this over the top of the gauge. Now you'll notice the shiny side is up and the dull side is down. If you turn it upside down, you'll have a heck of a time soldering to it. Going to attach it to the PCT 3M tape. At a very shallow angle, I'm going to lift that up off the beam, and then I'm going to line it to the alignment mark that I'd previously put burnished onto the beam. Now I am able to prepare for and mix the adhesive so that I'm able to just immediately clamp it up when I'm finished with the mixing. So we take the AE-10 resin, take the cap off and dispose of it. You do not want to ever use that cap again. AE-10 curing agent. It's very hygroscopic, so we're going to limit the amount of time that this is exposed to the air. I'm going to use the pipette. I'm going to pull it up to the number 10 on the pipette for the proper amount for AE-10. Going to dispense that in the center of the resin jar. Immediately cap the curing agent because it's, as I said, it's very hygroscopic and you don't want it to absorb too much moisture. Take my hand and hold it by the top of the jar, and I'm going to begin stirring this. Now this material will actually mix together in probably about 30 seconds to a minute, but we will continue to stir it for a full 5 minutes. And the reason for that, in this particular case with the AE-10, it's an exothermic reaction, and if we don't continue to stir it, the center of the jar would overheat or get higher temperature than the outside edges and might prematurely kick over the adhesive. So now I'm going to take this and I'm going to stir it for a 5 full minutes. While we're waiting, I wanted to talk to you just a moment about the online shop. All of the materials that we have been using here in this particular exercise are available on the online shop so that you can order them and get them without having to speak with our customer service. Not quite like Amazon, but we like to try. Now, as you're mixing this material, you might notice, oh my goodness, look, there's all kinds of bubbles down in there. Is this going to be a problem? It really shouldn't be, because we're going to clamp it up, and when we smear the adhesive out, we'll get rid of all of those little bubbles. All right, we have completed our 5 minutes of mixing. And if we were going to be using this material, the AE-10, at its minimum cure temperature and time, which is 75 degrees Fahrenheit for 6 hours, we would allow this to ingest for another full 5 minutes. But since I'm going to clamp this up and leave it overnight, I will not have to do that. Need to have a gauze sponge at the ready for squeegeeing things out. I'm going to take a second gauze sponge, a clean, dry one. I'm going to lift out the stirring rod, and I'm going to clean off the excess adhesive. Now, why in the world would you think I'd want to do that? There might be some unmixed curing agent or resin that might be on this stirring rod, and we don't want that to get into our gauge site. So I've just made that clear. Now, before, we're going to lift the tape at a shallow angle. We don't want to damage the gauge as we're lifting it off the beam. And I'm going to expose the bonding surface of the 125 UWA strain gauge. I'm going to take the stirring rod and I'll pick it up and let 2 or 3 drops of the adhesive to drop off of it. Don't want to put too much in the gauge site. Then I'm going to wet the surface of the gauge and also wet the surface of the beam where the gauge is going to land. Just a little bit of adhesive where it's going to land. This way we ensure that we don't have a starved bond line. Having done that, I'm now going to take that clean, dry gauze sponge that I folded into quarters. I'm going to squeegee through the adhesive, and then I'm going to take the silicone gum pad for the clamping pressure. And this particular adhesive system requires somewhere between 5 and 20 psi of clamping pressure. Note I said psi, or pounds per square inch. There'll be an aluminum backing plate which will distribute the clamping load. And then I will clamp it up, paying attention, looking down the beam to make sure that the silicone gum pad and the aluminum backing plate are parallel to the beam that's being clamped up, and also double check that it's evenly clamped in the lateral direction also. And at this point, we have completed an installation using AE-10, a room temperature curing adhesive system, recently rated up to 400 degrees Fahrenheit on the top end, minus 320 on the bottom end. It's a room temperature curing. We used a 125 UWA advanced sensor strain gauge to bond it in place. And that pretty much tells you the story of an installation with AE-10, newly highly rated to 400 degrees Fahrenheit, and a CEA series of gauge in the 125 UWA advanced sensor technology. Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.